Hello and welcome to the Black Fathom Deep's Thalnos 3-level disadvantage guide. And these are the mandatory talents you will need. Bane, the attack speed on Thalnos makes him very good for this particular build. Cloaking Device or Coming in Hot is good on Safe Pilot. You can take whatever on Quillbore. Inner Fire is mandatory on Holy Nova for the first stage, particularly because of the heavy elemental damage and the heavy physical damage from the Ogre Mages and the Stone of Tarns. Picklock is very good on the Defias Bandit, and Bone Shield on the Ghoul is very good for tanking damage and sustaining your push. So we get a bunch of stuff here. I accidentally take Troll's Blood Potion, which heals your units, but you can switch if you haven't entered the stage yet. So I switched to the Willful Book, which allows me to make undead units for cheaper after I play my hero. So we send our Defias Bandits one to the left and one to the right, and I use my Quillbore here to protect my Defias Bandits so I can secure the 4 gold that you get from Picklock, the talent that I took with my Defias Bandits on the left. And as long as the Defias Bandit has hit the chest recently, I don't know what the exact duration is, probably like 2 or 3 seconds, and the chest is destroyed, you will get the 4 gold. So we are going to use this to our advantage because we want to make as many Thalnos as possible to snowball a big push to kill the boss. So if you can get like 3 or 4 Thalnoses out, you can absolutely demolish the boss. And it's very easy to do once you get the feel of the rhythm for this type of push. So we use Holy Nova there to keep our push very healthy because it has Inner Fire, it gives our Ghoul armor, and it gives it magic resist against those Ogre Mages and the Stone of Tarn. So that keeps the Ghoul healthy, which allows us to preserve our Thalnos, at least one of them, and keep them going. So it's much easier to win this stage if you're not losing your push every single time you go out. And Inner Fire does a very good job on this stage of protecting your push. So we use our Arcane Blast here pretty liberally. Now you may be wondering why I'm not using Chain Lightning over Arcane Blast. And the reason is if you're at a level disadvantage like -2 on your Chain Lightning, the stun, if you have it talented, is pretty much borderline useless. It resets the animation they have, which is okay. It's not bad, but it lasts significantly less time is my understanding. And the breakpoints on Chain Lightning are really bad. If it's down 2 levels, it no longer kills Whelpbacks, which aren't really a concern here. It doesn't kill Kobolds. There's just a lot of units that it no longer kills. And so for that reason, I'd rather just cycle faster with the Arcane Blast and use it to get the stacks on my Thalnos and level them up faster. You want to cycle your deck as fast as possible so you can get these 3-man pushes on the boss. So we get offered Gnomish Flywheel, which is great for cycling. It's going to lower our played units by 4 gold overall for in a full cycle. And then Band of the Protector isn't bad either. It's going to lower 2 of our tank units by 1 cost. So either of these is a perfectly valid choice. Now the one caveat to a Flywheel is that you have to stop using Arcane Blast for it to benefit the next unit. So we get a very good opener here. And we use our Safe Pilot to just demolish it. Now I play kind of cautiously here and kind of slow because I'm kind of scared that if I overspawn units that the CPU will match me. But he had already blown all of his units and his gold in that opener, so I probably should have just made my Thalnos a little bit sooner to repel his push. But I paid for it with my base health, which is okay. Sometimes you make mistakes, sometimes you just got to adjust your play. So we clean up the push on the left. We're a little bit cautious, and we use a lot of Arcane Blast to do so. If I had been a little bit more cautious, I would have been able to preserve the gold, and I would have had an even bigger gold advantage going into this. We want to get out another Thalnos and stack him up with these Arcane Blasts, and we're a little bit scared that we're going to lose our Thalnos to the Banshee. But she goes after the Safe Pilot, and we manage to kill her anyway. I decide to deny this Dark Iron Miner because I have a pretty high level Safe Pilot, relatively speaking. And I feel like I can clean him up before he gets too much gold, which is pretty nice. It slows his pushes down, and it makes it easier to defend this tower. Now, something I didn't mention is positioning on this Quillbore. I think you want to try and position the Quillbore in the bottom left of the boss, just because if the boss tries to spawn reinforcements and you are trying to protect your main push, if you spawn it in the bottom left like I'm doing here, any units that he spawns, particularly Drake or Batrider, will turn to face your Quillbore and will not face your main push, which will keep it a lot healthier. So this is something I've just realized recently, and it's something that will make this run a lot easier. If you put that Quillbore in the bottom left, of the boss, it makes your pushes a lot healthier and a lot safer overall. Because most of the units that the boss will spawn here are magic damage, and the Cold Bore has elemental resistance, which is good against that. So we are kind of in a crunch here, but we managed to defend both of these pushes, and we're about ready to kill this boss here. So overall, this was actually a pretty easy stage 2, all things considered. We did get a very good opener, though. So we get Band of the Arcanist, and we get Coated Spear and some banner. The Coated Spear with poison is not bad, but Band of the Arcanist has insane synergy with Arcane Blast. It's definitely the best relic in this run. It makes it so you can cycle your spells one cheaper. It only works, but the spell must cost at least one, so it allows us to basically level up our Thalnos very cheaply. Now, the one caveat is here, you want to be very careful to not just spam Arcane Blast, because you will run out of gold very quickly. So the first two are generally worth doing, and the third one is sometimes worth doing, usually worth doing, and the fourth one might not be worth doing. You just want to make sure you just want to develop your push here. And that's something I like to do on this level particularly. You'll notice that if you rewind this video, you'll see that I am slow to spawn units because I want to stockpile a lot of gold and get a big push going. Because if I can do that, the boss attacks so slowly on the left that the more units you have, the more impactful the push is going to be, because you're not going to lose your units as quickly. You're going to have a bigger push going into them, and you're going to be able to kill the boss more effectively. So now now that we've secured the left, we're going to push on the right. And before we hit the second step at the top here, we want to spawn a Cold Bore in front of the boss, because if you don't, he will barf poison on the steps, and all of your units will die. So we go ahead and do that. Unfortunately, he decides to not barf poison, or he barfs it now, and it kills my Thalnos and it kills my push. And while I'm able to kill this boss here with the safe pilot, he now has 3 slimes advancing on my base, and I'm kind of just gauging the map here. I know I'm going to have to go deal with that right away. They move kind of slowly, but just be aware here, like if you are a lower level, these slimes actually do quite a bit of damage to your base, as you'll see here. They kind of chunk it, so just be careful. They move very slowly, and you can get backdoor very easily if you're not paying attention. This is something that you just constantly have to be aware of on this map, particularly if you're underleveled. The backdoor is a very real threat. So I use my Arcane Blast here to kind of chip these raptors down to 1 hits on my tower, and I also use it to level up my Thalnos a bit. And we're going to be pushing right here, just because the high ground is pretty good against towers now. A lot of the time, the tower will not target it. You'll see here in a minute that the tower will shoot at my Thalnos anyway, but so it is. We're going to develop our push on the left here because the CPU is able to wrest the tower back from me. And I just want to make sure that we have a strong foundation to push from. If we have this tower, it anchors our base and makes it a lot easier to defend. And it's a lot easier to push into this final Hydra head too before we take the waterfall down. Because if you walk in that waterfall, you're going to lose your units. So we're going to secure this chest on the right and deny a few kobolds. I decided to do it because I figure the safe can take on the kobolds pretty easily, and it's pretty good value overall, especially if he's spawning units. And now that we've secured this tower, we're going to slowly push into this final Hydra head, which barfs elemental damage out, and it will chain to nearby units. And it's very powerful. It's probably the most powerful of the 3 heads for doing damage, relatively speaking. So we use our Cold Bore to tank it to make sure that we don't lose any of our units. Now I want to prevent myself from getting backdoored here. This is going to be very common. The boss will try and send raptors through your back door. Now something bugs here, I think, because for the rest of this run, the boss doesn't really spawn anything. I've heard rumors that Black Whelp Tunic will do that, but I don't have Black Whelp Tunic, so I don't really know why it's doing that this time. But you know what? We'll take it. I think part of the problem is he just sees all my Thalnoses and he's just in awe. Like, this is a god push, right? Like, look at this. So yeah, we're going to use Holy Nova. We're going to keep all our guys safe. We got a level 30 Thalnos, and we're knocking at his door. Little C4 for you. So yeah, this was a pretty fun run. It was very interesting trying to puzzle it out. And if you're anything like me, trying to make Thalnos work is very difficult, but it is very rewarding. So I hope that this run has served you well and you get some ideas on how you might do a future Thalnos run of your own. Let us know down below in the comments, and I will catch you on the flip side. Thank you all so much for watching. Take it easy. Peace.